What's up, guys? This is Rise, and welcome to a very exciting video where I've been fortunate enough where some of the top players from the APAC region sent me in their footage from the 2024 Asia Pacific Championship qualifier and playoffs for a chance to qualify for the World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, you may be familiar with the regional system in America or in North America and Europe where people will travel to these tournaments and they will compete on stream, and it's a big production and everything, super exciting. I travel myself to compete fairly often in these tournaments. Well, in Asia, in this region, they have a different system. So this is a remote tournament featuring players from different regions. I actually asked, it's players from Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Philippines competing remotely to try and qualify for the World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, we're going to be taking a look at some runs from Shin Lena and Yakai, two of the best players in APAC. And if you're wondering about the exact format, we have a little graphic here. Shout out to Dracovis, by the way, for supplying me with some really cool graphics for this video. And it's actually going to be a couple of videos, so stay tuned till the very end for a little bit of a surprise. But we have a qualifier. So there was a qualifying portion of this where it was a Swiss format and you had to place in a certain echelon in the top 16 just to qualify for the playoffs, in which it is then a double elimination format, best of 3 all the way through, even towards the grand finals. And the top 2 trainers will qualify for the World Championships in Hawaii. The 2 players we're going to be taking a look at, Shin Lena and Yakai. And without further ado, let's get into the battles. We're going to take a quick team preview here. So, Shin Lena against Skit Scat Wa. These might be a little bit out of order. I've had to record this twice because I think Shin Lena might have mislabeled a lot of the teams and the videos. So I had to do a little bit of reorganizing. But I think we've got it sorted out. So, game number 1 here, match number 1 against Skit Scat Wa. Hopefully that doesn't mean anything bad. I'll just say Skit, I guess, or Skit Scat, I don't know. But we see Shin Lena is rocking a really cool team of Goodra, which you almost never see, at least recently, in the Show 6 Pick 3 format. Very spicy pick for a regional championship. And then Clodsire, Chargerbug, Cresselia, Dugong, and Sableye. Skit Scat is running Magnezone, the Shadow variant, of course, which we've seen Paulasha just go ballistic with lately. Shadow Whiscash, Skarmory, Cresselia, Altaria, and Annihilate. Without further ado, let's get into the battles. It's going to be Goodra into Altaria. 2 Dragon Breath users going head-to-head here to start things off. And the pivot aggressively into Dugong. And fortunately, it's met by a Skarmory. Now, you got to think, if they swapped in a Skarmory, what could possibly be in the back? Like, if they had Annihilate, it would have been Annihilate, right? If they had Cress, it would have been Cress. So that really only leaves Whiscash, right? It has to be Whiscash. Magnezone they would have swapped in as well, right? So I think it has to be Whiscash in the back if they came in Skarmory here. They went really soft to Dugong. Icy Wind connects. Going to go for the farm down here. Not before Skarmory gets off a move. However, you can simply just shield it and take switch advantage. And they can't come in with the Altaria, so you're going to see what's in the back here. Let's see what's going to come in. Altaria comes in. Altaria comes in. That is surprising. And Icy Wind now going to draw that Protect Shield. Altaria can't even Dragon Breath down. Going to be forced to expend energy here. Sky Attack coming through. Knocks out the Dugong, but you've taken switch. And now Goodra just pacing with those Dragon Breaths. Throws the Aqua Tail before they can reach another Sky Attack here. This will likely knock out the Altaria. And what's in the back? It's that Whiscash like we expected. And I think just straight Aqua Tail is probably the safer play, right? Honestly, I think you have a variety of ways to close out this game. But going to get to another Aqua Tail, and this should really seal it up. Because now Whiscash almost has to shield. And you just swap into Sableye. And Sableye can take 1 Scald, even if Whiscash gets the double Scald here. So it should be smooth sailing. Purified Sableye with that standard Foul Play return move set. Another move coming through from the Cash, but even a Shadow Sableye could probably withstand a Scald from that amount of health. And Foul Play will connect to knock out Mr. Whiscash. And a little bit of lag. G to the G. Straight into game 2. we're going quick here. Shinlena up 1-0. Positive lead for the Dugong. And they swap immediately into Cress, met by Sableye. This is terrific for Sableye. And this is where the non-Shadow has the benefit of being able to withstand a Moonblast. Actually, they bait the Grass Knot. I wonder if they're running Future Sight. Because it seems like a bold bait there. Because Sableye is not necessarily inclined to shield anyway. So maybe it is just Grass Knot Future Sight. Yeah, because it seemed like they went straight Grass Knot again. So this is amazing for Shinlena. Just a really dominant position. Not only do you keep Switch, but you have all this energy to threaten whatever comes in. You're going to get off maybe 2 foul plays against Whiscash. Yeah, this is looking really dominant and really dire for Skit. Foul play coming through. Does nearly half health. They catch onto a Magnezone, but they're going to have to shield it anyway. You're going to have to shield this. Poor Magnezone, and you have the Charge Bug here, which is a pretty even matchup, but up a shield. This is really nice for Charge Bug, and the Magnezone is going to elect to let Charge Bug throw first because they don't want to debuff themselves. But yeah, I think Shinlena is just in such a commanding position here. Not even going to bother shielding. Understands that a Wild Charge won't knock out, so can afford to take it. And this also debuffs the Magnezone, right? So now you might even be able to Volt Switch down. No, just going to let it go. Anyway, you live a Mirror Shot here. You don't live the Mirror Shot. Comes in with Dugong. Just shield this to respect it. It's probably a Mirror Shot, but that's fine. Does debuff you, but remember, Whiscash already took that foul play earlier, so it's already been chipped, and Dugong already has a positive matchup here, so this is looking really good. Swaps in Sableye, and the Shadow Claws are actually too much. Whiscash didn't want to commit any energy there, and that is a GG. So that is a quick win against Skit Scat Wah. And now we're going to have to play the matchmaker game to try and figure out who this is. So Bullet Eagle is what I was told, but then I recorded it, and I don't think it is Bullet Eagle's team because it doesn't match up. So I think it's actually this person. I think it's YYDS is this person. Cresselia into Vigoroth. And running the Future Sight variant of Cresselia is Shinlena. So, will we see Shinlena elect to go for the Future Sight in this matchup? No, going for the Grass Knot here. Grass Knot going to do a little bit less than half. Oh, but gets the shield. That's massive. Gets the shield, and the fact that your back line is avoiding the Vigoroth is so nice here. Sableye doesn't love the Vigoroth matchup, and Dugong definitely doesn't like the Vigoroth matchup, so this is exactly where you want to see it. The longer the Vigoroth stays in here, the better for Shinlena. Should be able to withstand the Body Slam to get off the Grass Knot here. I don't think you reach the Future Sight. So yeah, just going to have to settle for the Grass Knot. Vigoroth can probably take it and counter down, but it's going to be really low. It's going to be really low. I think you come and save, yeah. And you're going to have to eat a Rock Slide, but you take a massive energy head start going into the next matchup. And if you look at YYDS's team, nothing is going to be able to resist these moves from Sableye. So Sableye is awfully safe looking. If it is a Gligar or a Whiscash in back, this looks amazing for Shinlena. If it's something else, if it's Lantern or Cresselia, this could be scary. Foul play. Connects. Move coming through. Just going to let it go. Just going to put it all on the back of Dugong. Brave Bird connects. And it's the Gligar double flyer. A shiny Gligar. And that is a amazing matchup for the Dugong here. Let's go, Dugong. Dugong putting in a lot of work. Another Icy Wind coming through. Going to grab that shield. And Gligar's going to fight this out, but the move is not going to be nearly enough. Dugong will come out of here with a charge attack. And you just throw that right away at the Skarm. G to the G. And I think this might be the one where Shinlena only had one battle. Let's see if the avatar changes. No. No, same person. Okay. Same person. Game number 2 here. We saw the positive lead. Everything going Shinlena's way right now. Just making all the right predictions, all the right reads. and has the alignment that they want. A Vigoroth lead would have been kind of tough. You would have had to pivot your Sableye, most likely, into the Vigoroth. And then they could have just kept Switch if they want. So a bit of a risky line from Shinlena, but called this line perfectly. Grass Knot coming through. Puts Vig low. Vig's going to spam off a couple of body slams here. So Shinlena might need to use a Protect Shield to keep this alignment. But I think you're okay with that, right? I think you're okay with that. Because if you keep Dugong aligned with Gligar, it should be a pretty good situation. Has lots of energy as well. And if you're Gligar, you know that you're aligned with a Dugong anyway, so do you even bother shielding? If I'm the Gligar, I'm just letting this go. Quick swap into Dugong and met by the Scarm. Once, like we talked about, not a bad matchup at all. And you might be wondering, why did the opponent come in with the Gligar and not the Skarmory against the Cresselia? Well, right, they know there's a Dugong waiting for them, so they need the Skarmory. They need to preserve its health to get rid of this Dugong. And if they can get rid of the Dugong, I wonder if Gligar has any play against the remaining health of both of those back Pokemon. Sableye and Cress went for the Brave Bird. That was a bit of a Hail Mary, hoping it goes through. Gets to another Brave Bird, but it's not enough. It's not enough, and gets the full farm. Now you just blind Icy Wind, and the last remaining Pokemon is debuffed, and this just seems like way too steep a hill to climb, even for a flyer like Gligar. Going to unleash the move, but this is within Future Sight range now, so I think you just come in with Cresselia. No, going to come in with Sableye. I guess this works as well. Multiple avenues to victory. And the foul play should just about knock out the Gligar here, lifting Shinlena to victory. Sableye into Gligar now. Let's see, is this Annie? I think this is Annie now Shinlena is playing against. And this is actually the winner's finals. This is the winner's finals to get to the grand finals. So this is a big-time matchup between Shinlena and Annie, who has a really spicy team. Really spicy team. G-Fisk, Dunsparce, Poliwrath, Mantine. Really unique team from Annie. I'm personally not sold on G-Fisk in this meta. I feel like it just has way too many counters and not enough targets. But Annie's rocking with it, and she's gotten this far with it. So now G-Fisk going for a charge attack. Earthquake connects on Cresselia, but as you see, does less than half health to Cresselia, who is just so bulky. Cresselia unloads the Grass Knot. G-Fisk just content staying in here, going to chip away as much as possible. I mean, Charger Bug is really the only Cresselia answer other than G-Fisk on Annie's team, so you have to assume there's probably no Charger Bug in the back if they're just going to stay in here. So they're just going to stay in. They're going to take alignment. Shadow Claw down with Sableye, perhaps? Yeah, and Sableye is going to have lots of energy. In comes the Dunsparce. Okay. Dunsparce going to like this matchup, right? You resist the Shadow Claw damage. Going to need like 3 foul plays to knock out. Going for the return. This is bold. This is bold. Are all shields still in play? I forget. Return connects. And now Gligar. Okay. Oh, I guess I forgot we already saw Gligar earlier. So Gligar has Night Slash. Annie. What is going on here? And I think you just commit to fast moves at this point if you're Shinlena. I think you just commit to fast moves, yeah. Just keep shielding. Go for the full farm down here. Has so much energy. And I think you live a drill run on Goodra. Goodra's a little bit bulkier than most dragons. Lives the drill run barely. And the Dragon Breath's knockout before the rollout. GG. And here's game number 2. Sableye into G-Fisk. I feel like this matchup used to be a lot more common back in a previous meta. Used to see these two line up against each other. Sableye not quite as common as it used to be. G-Fisk way less common than it used to be. Used to be like the most common mon in the meta. Then Earthquake got nerfed. Rock Slide connects. Plus the meta has shifted, right? Now there's a lot of Whiscash and Gligar, so. Before, G-Fisk used to beat like all the flyers. Now the main flyer it loses to. Another move coming through from G-Fisk. Sableye is going to go down. So Annie does take switch advantage, and that could be nice. In comes Cresselia, But once again, no Charge-a-Bug. And with that Goodra looking pretty good against Annie's team, you can't really fault her for not wanting to bring the Charge-a-Bug. Maybe afraid of that Goodra matchup. But to be fair, Charge-a-Bug actually does all right there because X's are pretty much 2 shots. So it's not that bad of a matchup. Gets a shield from the Cresselia. Now swaps in Goodra. Goodra's going to respect a charge attack here. And it's just a Night Slash, so maybe not the best use of a Protect Shield, but of course the dig is super threatening from Shadow Gligar. Aqua Tail comes through, grabs the shield, and then we see another shield come in. Dig, properly shielded. Finally was able to shield a dig. Now Dunsparce comes in, going for the Aqua Tail. I'm personally not familiar with Goodra if Aqua Tail is the more efficient move or not. Maybe it is, since it recently got buffed. But going for the Power Whip now is going to do more raw damage. Let a free rollout through. That's not ideal. But you still have a nice chunk of health. Catches the move on to Cresselia. Very nicely done. Going to absorb this very well. Dunsparce farming up. Gets off another charge attack, but I think Cress hangs on. I think Cress hangs on. Hangs on by a thread. Gets the Psycho Cut down, has a future sight to deliver the knockout, and Shinlena is moving on to the grand finals. Congratulations to them. Meanwhile, while Shinlena is putting in a dominant showing, undefeated on the winner's side here in the playoffs, finding themselves with a spot in the winner's finals. Meanwhile, Mr. Yakai has been fighting his way for the loser's bracket. And we're going to go to some Yakai footage to see what he's been up to. And let's get this sorted. Yakai. Let's, get a little bit of sneak peek here. Technical difficulties. But we're going to start off with Yakai against XRVOZ. I'm not sure how this name is supposed to be said, per se, but I do know this person won a regional tournament last year. And looks like we got double Dracoviz text. Maybe I can take one off. This person, I believe, won this event last year. And Yakai started the playoffs on the loser side of the bracket. So we're going to take a look at Yakai going through the loser side. He's running Skeledirge, Vigoroth, Lantern, Cresselia, Umbreon, and Shadow Gligar. XRVOZ, Altaria, Vig, Lickitung, Lantern, Skarmory, and Shadow Gligar. So very standard team for XRV, and a little bit more unique with the Umbreon and the Skeledirge for Yakai. A few kind of secondary meta picks. And if you're unfamiliar with Yakai, has a reputation as one of the best Go Battle League players in the world. It's just seemingly always on the leaderboard. And we're going to start things off with the classic Lantern Altaria matchup. You can kind of tell, based on how much damage these Dragon Breaths are doing, that this Lantern is defense weighted and has that bulk point to take less Dragon Breath damage, which is really helpful in this matchup. Lantern withstanding these Dragon Breaths quite well. Charge attack coming through, and that looked like the Moon Blast to me. Going for the Surf now. Surf should just about knock out from this range. Lantern understands that and is able to knock out with a lesser energy cost move, giving it more energy going into this Vigoroth matchup. Going for the Surf bait as well. Does Yakai pull up a Protect Shield? Yes, he does. Just playing this so perfectly already. You can tell, like, the skill level of Yakai. Vigoroth knocks out the Lantern. Great alignment here. I think you just go for double Grass Knot from this range. Like, really no reason to go for the Moonblast. But let's see what Yakai elects to go for. Charge attack coming through from Vig. We know how spammy it is. Gets to those body slams so quickly where it can actually put up a fight against Cresselia. I think it can actually flip this matchup in the 2-shield scenario, but 1 shield has already been expended on both sides. Cresselia goes for Grass Knot. Does a little bit more than half of the remaining health. Doesn't fall for the charge attack priority. Instead, overfarms. Yakai playing this game essentially perfectly, in my opinion. Goes for the Grass Knot now. And what is going to be in the back? Still has the Umbreon, and it is a Gligar. And Umbreon Gligar is such an even matchup. I think just simply getting off this Grass Knot should help lift Yakai to victory, is running that foul play last resort move set. And just going to go straight foul play here. I think this makes sense. Could also have just gone for double last resort since it does a little bit more raw damage, but this is totally fine. Because you can probably get to 3 foul plays anyway, so this is probably the safer play, to be honest. Charge attack coming through from Gligar. The dig connects, but based off the amount of health, you can gauge that Umbreon would survive another dig anyway. Foul play coming through. And then we see the game-winning foul play. Umbreon going to deliver the knockout blow, knocking out Mr. Gligar. G to the G. Now game number 2. Best of 3s here all the way through. Yakai. Vigoroth into Skarm. Slightly favorable towards Skarm, I would say. However, Vigoroth does win this matchup in certain scenarios, especially if this Rock Slide connects, but it gets shielded, so this makes it a little bit more favorable for Skarm. If that Rock Slide goes through, I would say it actually favors the Vigoroth. Charge attack lands, just a Sky attack. Vigoroth going to get off another Rock Slide here. Can Skarmory get the Steel Wing down before the Body Slam? Yes, it can. Beautiful counting by the opponent there. In comes Lantern, going to save the energy and pivot Vigoroth. Vigoroth quite safe against Yakai's team. I mean, what is Vigoroth really afraid of? Maybe Crest, Skeledirge. He's only like somewhat afraid of those. So Vig going to put in a fight against Lantern here. This is a very close matchup. Lantern a little bit bulkier, but Vigoroth can outpace it. Body Slam coming through. Body Slam puts Lantern low. We see banking the Surf and then swapping in Gligar. I like this play. Skarmory does have... Oh, wait. Doesn't Skarmory have a move? I was going to say it might be better to save your shield for the Skarmory's move, but I guess you had 2 shields, so you use one there, you use one here. And it's going to be... Oh, do you get the full farm? Wow, look at the counting from Yakai. Understood, had to throw the Aerial Ace there. And the opponent elects to no shield. I wonder if they were concerned about getting knocked out through the shield. It is possible. But if they survive that 1 HP damage through the shield, that move would have been really useful. But I guess they need energy for the Lantern, which combo plays with the Surf. And Yakai is able to maneuver around with a really impressive victory against XRVOZ. Now I'm confused. Because wasn't that 2-0, but we're doing a third game anyway? Now I'm confused. I am confused, I must admit. But let's spectate this third game. Cresselia into Shadow Gligar. And maybe they just elected to do a third game for fun. I'm not sure. Going for the Grass Knot here. This is a really common matchup. So these are the things like even someone like myself that sometimes you guys look to for advice. I take notes from players like Yakai. Like, how does Yakai play out this specific matchup? Going for the Grass Knot here. I've seen a lot of Cresselia players just go straight Grass Knot because you do outpace to double Grass Knot by 1 Cycle Cut to double dig, so it kind of makes sense. Going for the Moonblast now. I think you live the Aerial Ace, right? Oh my gosh, just barely. That is literally 1 HP and a Dream. So able to get both Protect Shields out of the lead. You come in Umbreon, which can soak this damage. And if you look at the opposition, right, there's no Whiskash, there's no hard check to the Lantern. So saving a shield for that Lantern is going to be really useful, it looks like, for Yakai. Just playing this so smart. The Umbreon's very safe as well. It's only afraid of Vigoroth, which we do see here. So going to chip it with a Foul Play and then probably immediately dip into Lantern. This Foul Play should put it close to Thunderbolt range plus the Sparks. So I like this play a lot. And now that Gligar is gone, nothing resists Thunderbolt. So you can almost just go straight for it. In comes Lickitung. This is really weird. This is really weird because the switch timers are desynced. So at some point you can probably swap in your Umbreon here. And maybe dance around. This is really uncomfortable for XRV. They are going to throw the Power Whip, I believe. So a nice shield. Surf's up, dude. Surf coming through. And gonna bank the energy. Catches on Umbreon. Now, here's the concern. Do you open up a window for Vigoroth to counter down here? Do you open up an avenue for Vigoroth to take a move and counter down? I think that's the opponent's win con. They need to come out with a Body Slam. If they don't come out with a Body Slam, or at least one counter away, they're going to lose. Last Resort coming through. Vigoroth should be able to hang on. And Vigoroth able to get the charge attack through. Maybe you go for Rock Slide here. Oh! But gets the 2 Body Slams instead. Very smart. 2 Body Slams. My guess is maybe the games were slightly out of order. So we saw like a game 3 before the actual game 3. So my apologies there. But we move on now. Yakai versus Annie. We saw Annie against Shinlena earlier. And now it's Yakai's turn to take on Annie and her spicy team. Shadow Gligar in the lead against Umbreon. Neutral matchup. Here we go. Umbreon trying to do Umbreon things. It's so strong in most neutral matchups because of its sheer bulk and its spamminess with foul play. Gligar going to fire off a move. Usually, opponents are going to go for the harder hitting move against Umbreon because they know people are unlikely to shield their Umbreon, right? So it makes sense. Going for another foul play here. But not going to do enough to knock out the Gligar. So Gligar could also opt to throw like double Aerial Ace here. It looked like Gligar might have thrown that after 3 for some reason. Giving a full free Snarl. So that's not ideal for Annie. But foul play now coming through. And Umbreon takes the switch advantage. G-Fist comes in. He's going to go for probably a full Mud Shot down. And I kind of like that play a lot. If you get a full Mud Shot down here, even against Gligar, this energy is really useful. Commit to it. Commit to it. Yes. Full Mud Shot down. And here's the thing, right? Although this is a good matchup for Gligar, if you have a million Rock Slides you're going to fire off, you're going to get off a lot of damage before Gligar can threaten with the Dig, because the Dig is what's threatening. Gligar going to... Oh, yikes. But double weak. And saves all the energy. And this is actually really smart. I think a lot of people might have elected to throw the Aerial Ace there. And maybe that would have been fine too. But doing this is going to allow Yakai to save all that energy for the G-Fisk. And G-Fisk, there's no way it can like Mud Shot down here. So it's going to have to expend energy at some point. And I think Yakai's in a really comfortable position. Pretty much has double Dig, right? Or actually, I take that back. Because they tried to catch right on the Dig. So probably not really at double Dig. But has a lot of energy. Maybe like 3 wing attacks off the double Dig. Here comes the first. You still have 2 Protect shields. No reason to no shield. And just a safe win con here. You shield the Rock Slide. Go for the Dig. This will knock out the Galarian Stunfisk. And beautifully played once again by Mr. Yakai. Dig knocks out. Now game number 2 against Annie. Here we go. Lantern into Poliwrath. Amazing lead. Unless Poliwrath is running like Dynamic Punch, just not a whole lot it can do against Lantern. And this is the beauty of Lantern, right? In Electric type, with that water coverage that can still threaten the Gligar. So you get a shield. Gonna maybe go for a catch attempt at some point. No, just gonna stay for now. I guess doesn't feel like he can guarantee switch. And here's the thing. Calls the bait. Calls the bait. Oh my gosh. Doesn't even need switch per se. Because if you look at the back line, the whole team beats Poliwrath. All 3 Pokemon beat Poliwrath. Unless shields are down, maybe Poliwrath can beat the Gligar. But pretty much the whole team. Oh my gosh. Are we going to see the Dig catch? Yakai. Unbelievable. And now Poliwrath is forced to come in here. Is it G-Fisk in the back? If it's G-Fisk in the back, I wonder if there's like still a sliver of hope. Probably not. Gonna shield up. Gligar looks so good against Annie's team, to be honest. Like, what's the best Gligar answer? Mantine? Mantine, I guess, is the best Gligar answer, and that is not comfortable. And the really painful thing here is I don't think Gligar is even in Rock Slide range. And you may be saying, what a crazy bait, but I think that's just the smart play. Yakai knows the opponent's thinking, what do they have to... The opponent's thinking, what's going to do the most damage? A move from the Gligar here, so you might as well shield, and you might as well bait. You still have Cresselia. Cresselia versus G-Fisk is a very close matchup, so any sort of chip damage should really help secure this. Lantern, beating the ground types like an absolute savage. G-Fisk will potentially get rid of the Lantern here, but just a really convincing win for Yakai. Psycho Cut down. Low health Gligar gets Psycho Cut down. Cresselia being a bully. And that sets us up for the grand finals. And, you know, I don't think I could do justice doing the grand finals by myself. So, as we close out this part 1 video showing you the lead up to the grand finals between Shinlana and Yakai, I have a little bit of a teaser teasing you for part 2, which I hope you guys stay tuned for next time on the channel. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below. All comments are appreciated. And all that said, thank you for watching. I very much hope to see you in part 2 for the next one. Share it with your friends, all right? All right, peace. So now we are set up for a grand finals between Shinlana, who you saw last time, and Yakai, a matchup of epic proportions. And I don't know if I can do justice casting a grand finals by myself, so we're going to bring on a special guest caster to make sure you stay tuned next time for the grand finals.